An 11th grader in Tennessee advocating for a mask mandate was mocked at a school board meeting after he described how his grandmother died from COVID. In a video posted online, a woman behind the student laughs, and others in the audience seem to jeer.
I'm worried about my family. If I get COVID, I'm going to bring it to my family. And I talk to my grandparents a lot. They're higher risk than me, so I don't want to give them COVID. This time last year, my grandmother, who was a former teacher at the Rutherford County school system, died of COVID because someone wasn't wearing a mask. This is a very
Hey guys, we're here to act professional. Please, sir, go ahead.
Thank you. This is an avoidable issue, and by not wearing masks in schools, it's irresponsible. We're killing people. This is not something that we should be doing for the education of our students. Thank you.
Joining me now is the student that you just saw speaking, Grady Knox, and his classmate, Will Severn. Grady, thank you so much for coming on this morning. I just have to tell you, my heart hurts when I hear the responses you were talking about, obviously something that is so incredibly meaningful and painful. And I just wonder what was going through your mind during that moment.
My brain was just like all over the place because I could hear them behind me, but it felt like the two things weren't connected because I couldn't understand why people would like react like that to a statement that I made that's like so personal, you know?
No, incredibly. And so you were just trying to make a point of what was at stake, right?
Exactly.
So Will, I know that you have been advocating for masking in schools for months now. Tell us about what has motivated you to speak up.
Well, thank you both for letting us come on the air today. This is an issue that affects not just us, but students across the nation. Recently, over the past few weeks, I've seen that a lot of students, not just Rutherford County schools, but across Tennessee, have had to make a decision, and that is that should they prioritize their personal health or their academic well-being? Because right now, a lot of the options available to students are limited. 20% of students were quarantined just last week alone. And because Tennessee has no distance learning, they were likely receiving no real-time instruction. And so sometimes they're hesitant to report symptoms or contacts outside of school for fear of falling behind in class. And that's something no student should have to do.
And so the county schools there sent CNN a statement about masking policies. It says this: we required masks last year, but the board voted previously to make masks recommended but not required for this school year. It will be up to the board to decide whether to make any changes to the mask policy. Grady, what is it like being in school? What is the environment like?
It's really weird because you'll walk into a class some days and half the kids will be gone from contact tracing because there's so many kids that are getting COVID and so many kids that sit around them that it's spreading so quick that and the other part is the vice principal is the one that's contact tracing everyone. So kids will get called to the vice principal's office and everyone's just like, oh, I guess they're getting contact traced. And the vice principal knows this and has to specify when it's contact tracing and when it's not, because students stress out about this.
Of course. I mean, and that's the tell if it's one person doing it, right? You know, you said you were sort of disconnected from the moment, Grady, as you were saying what you said about your grandmother and people behind you were laughing. You know, now you have this perspective. You're not disconnected. You know what they were doing. What is your message to those parents who laughed at you?
I just hope that they see that they've given me this chance now to speak in front of the entire nation and tell about how I believe masks are something that is really essential for schools to stay open. And I hope that they see that this is really just benefiting me and people that believe in masks all across the country.
Well, Grady, I'm so sorry for your loss and for the loss of your family, of your grandmother. I know she would be very proud of you for what you were doing, and Will Severn as well. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.